The National Football League, founded in 1920 as the American Professional Football Association, or the APFA, with 10 teams, 4 states, all of whom existed in some form as participants of regional leagues in their respective territories. The league took on its current name in 1922. The NFL was the first professional football league to successfully establish a nationwide presence. After several decades or failed attempts, only 2 founding members are still in the league: the Dexter Staleys, now the Chicago Bears, and the re-signed Cardinals, which were founded in 1898 and joined the NFL in 1920. Now the Arizona Cardinals, which is the oldest franchise in the NFL. 1920 to 1939. From 1920 to 1939, the NFL experienced significant growth and changes. The league was originally formed as the APFA in 1920 with 14 teams drawn from various regional leagues. However, it quickly expanded with the number of teams increasing to 21 by 1931. The 1930s also witnessed the emergence of new franchise and the movement of existing ones. The Boston Braves were enfranchised in 1932, while the Cincinnati Reds ceased operation and were replaced by the St. Louis Gunners in 1934. However, both the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Gunners did not return for the 1935 season. In 1937, the Cleveland Rams were enfranchised and the Boston Redskins moved to Washington, D.C. The NFL also saw the entry of teams from the All-American Football Conference, including the San Francisco 49ers, Cleveland Browns, and the Baltimore Colts. The league experienced further changes with the creation of the American Football League of the AFL as a rival to the NFL and the subsequent enfranchisement of the Dallas Cowboys in 1960. Additionally, the NFL underwent realignment and relocations, with teams like the Oakland Raiders and Los Angeles Rams moving to different cities.
The 1940s and 1950s were defining decades for the National Football League. It was an era marked by challenge, change, and emergence of football as a national pastime. In 1940s, the Chicago Bears showcased football petition for strategy and spectacular. Their innovative T formation offense, led by quarterback Sid Luckman, obliterated the Washington Redskins 73-0. A record-setting performance still unmatched in NFL history. But as the league grew, the world changed. World War II interrupted the NFL momentum, many players leaving the fields for the front lines. Teams struggled to fill their rosters. The franchise, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Philadelphia Eagles, briefly merged to survive. After the war, the NFL embraced new opportunities. In 1943, the first televised championship game opened the league to living rooms across America, paving the way for football futures as a media phenomenon. The 1950s saw the rise of dynastics. Paul Brown revolutionized coaching, with the Cleveland Browns dominating the league with an innovation. Quarterback Otto Graham led the team to 10 consecutive championships appearances. An unparalleled feature by the 1950s, the league was a grown powerhouse, fueled by the stars like Jim Brown, who redefined what was possible on the field. The NFL was no longer just a game. It was become America's institution. In 2 decades, NFL had transformed from a small, struggling league into a beacon of modern sports. The groundwork was laid for the explosive growth, and that would define the decades to come. 1960s to 1979. The AFC and NFL merged was the merger of the two major professional football leagues in the United States at the time, the National Football League and the American Football League. It paved the way for the combined league, which retained the National Football League name and logo. It became the most popular sport in the United States. The merger was announced in the evening of June 8th, 1966. Under the merger's agreement, the leagues maintained separate regular seasons scheduled for the next 4 seasons. For 1966 through 1969, with the final championships of the game, which would become known as the Super Bowl, and then officially merged before the 1970s season to form one league with conferences. In 1966, the first ever Super Bowl occurred when the Green Bay Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10. Also in 1942, the 1943 NFL season, the Miami Dolphins won every game including the Super Bowl, which has not still been done again. The Patriots in 2006 to 2007 season had a chance but went undefeated and lost to the New York City Giants in the Super Bowl. 1980s to 1999. During the 1980s and early 1990s, the 49ers won 5 Super Bowl titles, cementing their name as a powerhouse in the NFL. Their innovative West Coast offense revolutionized the game, emphasizing short, precise, and combined with a strong running game. The Dallas Cowboys also won 3 Super Bowls during the 1990s, 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers and 2 against the Buffalo Bills. The 1990s was a nightmare for the Buffalo Bills. This was the time when they made 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost all of them. The rules changed place, greater restrictions on contact in the area of the head, neck, and face. Under the heading of personal foul, players were prohibited from directly striking, swinging, and clubbing on the head, neck, or face. Starting in the 1980s, a penalty would be called for such contact whether or not the initial contact was made below the neck area.
2000 to 2009. The 2000s were a defining decade for the NFL, one that saw the league grow into a cultural juggernaut while simultaneously evolving in ways that changed the game forever. The decade began with the rise of dominant teams like the Patriots, whose dynasty under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady redefined success in the modern NFL. But it was also a time of incredible individual talent. Players like Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, and LaDainian Tomlinson electrified fans, leaving their mark on the game with unforgettable performances. The early 2000s also marked the emergence of new stars, including players like Ray Lewis, Terrell Owens, and Brett Favre, who captured the imagination of fans and helped propel the NFL into mainstream culture. However, the league was also forced to confront its dark side. The growing awareness of head injuries and concussions led to the heightened concerns about player safety and long-term health, a challenge that would loom over the league for years to come. Yet, despite these issues, the NFL's popularity soared. With the 2007 perfect season Patriots, the 2008 Super Bowl upset by the Giants, and the explosive growth of media coverage, the 2000s showcased the NFL as a high-octane, unpredictable spectacle. By the end of the decade, the league had not only solidified its status as America's favorite sport, but also laid the foundation for the era of social media, fantasy football, and a global expansion that would define the next chapter of the NFL. 2010-2019. The decade from 2010 to 2019 was a period of transformation and drama for the NFL, marked by iconic players, legendary moments, and some of the most dramatic storylines in league history. It was a time when the torch passed from one generation of quarterbacks to the next. Veterans like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady continued to dominate, while young stars like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Patrick Mahomes began to redefine what it meant to be a quarterback in the modern game. The NFL also became a league defined by its larger-than-life personalities, like J.J. Watt, Odell Beckham Jr., and Antonio Brown, who captivated fans both on and off the field. Yet, this was also a decade where the league faced intense scrutiny. Issues like player safety, concussions, and national anthem protests sparked heated debates, challenging the NFL's leadership and forcing it to confront difficult questions about its role in American culture. Amidst these challenges, the game itself evolved. Offenses grew faster, more dynamic, and more high-powered as the spread offense and mobile quarterbacks took center stage. Super Bowl victories in this era, like the Seahawks' dominant win in 2014 and by the Patriots' thrilling comeback in 2017, highlighted the league's unpredictability and excitement. By the end of the decade, the NFL cemented its place as America's game, ready to move forward into a new era of innovation. 2020 to now. The NFL's journey from 2020 to the present is one of unparalleled challenges and remarkable resilience. In the face of the global pandemic, the league was forced to adapt quickly. Empty stadiums, strict health protocols, and an ever-changing landscape. But amid the uncertainty, the players and staff found ways to keep the game alive, forging on with passion, even in isolation. It wasn't just the game itself that evolved, though. The league became a platform for powerful voices. As social justice movements surged, athletes led by figures like Colin Kaepernick continued pushing for change, raising awareness on issues of racial inequality and police brutality. Off the field, the NFL became a stage for activism. On it, the game grew more electrifying with the rise of young quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, who brought new energy to the position. Tom Brady, at 43, defied age and expectation, leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a 7th Super Bowl championship, proving that greatness knows no timeline. From virtual fan experiences to the return of packed stadiums, the NFL was forced to confront a new world, yet the love for the game remained unwavering. Through highs and lows, uncertainty and triumph, the league emerged from this era stronger, more connected, and more aware of the power sports have to influence society.